Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Beatbox Monday stream. Crazy volatility today and in the weekend, where we have Bitcoin selling off 7% on the daily after a massive breakdown and quite a recovery from the lows today. I actually was paying attention. The low was set in and reversed when the stock market opened in the morning, and we're currently up 10% from the lows. So that's a pretty nice recovery, but you have a lot of work to do before getting somewhat optimistic on this again. You'll need somewhat of a structure forming plus confluence with some levels and oscillators, because for now you're in the middle of a downtrend impulse. You do have a lot of wick here to the downside. Actually, the lows of today was at 49K on Binance, but you're clearly breaking down from this descending channel today. In 6 more minutes, you'll be close and below this trend line down here. And actually, you can draw it differently. This is my original drawing, but if you go for the formal descending channel drawing, when you anchor to 3 points here, here, and here, you're still above the descending channel. So, but I'm gonna keep it real. Just I'm gonna leave the descending channel just as we were talking about it. But what's really bad is that you're losing all of this critical levels from 2021, the 58 to 57K area here, this first impulse top, then the 63 to 64K area from the first major macro top on April 2021, and then finally the 69 to 67K from the second all-time high from the 2021 bull market. So if you're going to attempt a rally again against the highs, you'll have a lot of upside or overhead resistance. You're above 52K, which is an important level here. This somewhat complacency shoulder from 2021, and also this small sell-off from February this year. You sold off down there and then had this recovery that we were just talking about. And if we go to Bitstamp or Coinbase, you can see on the volume here, this was the largest volume on BTC today since the FTX implosion, since November 2022, chat. And before that one, the Luna crash and the 3 Arrow Capital implosion were pretty big volume spikes. So massive liquidation today on crypto. The stock market also took a hit, but crypto had the worst of it because it was open on the weekend. So we had some selling also on Saturday and on Sunday night, when the Nikkei and the Japanese yen started nuking. Is basically when crypto just had this massive liquidation candle today. So that's somewhat bad. Quite the performance out of this bearish shark up here, plus the confluence here of this confirmation top. You have this bearish divergence also, and you were fighting against the top of the channel. So it was a point to be somewhat cautious. I remember my last stream was on Thursday when this bullish hammer appeared, and then on Friday got turbo reversed after the missed unemployment rate that came up higher than expected. This was what basically provoked this selling. So the market is just basically, I think, figuring out and trying to price the potential recession that the U.S. economy might be in. I think that's what basically this whole downtrend has been about. They were talking about a potential emergency rate cut by the Fed, but I don't think that would happen just because of stocks price, because the constitutional mandate for the Fed is just employment and inflation, and it doesn't have a constitutional duty to I don't know, save the stock price of a company. So I think that something bigger would need to break, something related to the economy, to employment, not just a stock price, for the Fed to have an emergency cut. So as for now, I think that the cut will come on September 18. I think this is scheduled for the Fed, the next Fed meeting, and that's when it's more likely that happen. I could be wrong, but I don't think they would have an emergency rate cut just because of a strong downtrend on stocks and crypto. So that's your BTC going for the lowest daily candle close since February 25th. Man, pretty sad for what's going on. But I'm going to leave you with some hopium after I go into the next assets. Is that we've seen this kind of structure before, where you have this two lower highs regarding the first high, a low, then a lower low, and then another lower low. This looks pretty much like classic distribution, 3 falling peaks pattern, where you have this as your breakout line. Actually, I'm just realizing that you might be working on a throwback of this classic distribution pattern, because let's cook this out, chat. So this is the first peak here, first major peak of the pattern, then the second one, and this pattern is basically just you have a peak, then the second peak has to be a lower high regarding the first high. So that's appropriate, that checks the box. Then you have a third peak here, which is lower than the second peak, so that also checks the box. And this low also is lower than this low. So anything that you have missing here for this pattern to be completed and start potentially playing out is that you need to get price action or a daily candle close below the breakout line, which is this one, which is the lowest point of the second low, which is at around $53,500, give or take. And now you didn't get a daily candle close yet, but if you actually somewhat reverse here and start consolidating above 54K and so where you are right now, then this could be somewhat considered a throwback. And a throwback is what Bolkowski says in his book Encyclopedia of Trading Patterns, is that when you get price action below the breakout line, but then you reverse into price action above of the breakout line, he says that kind of patterns usually get hurt on the performance. So maybe if I'm having hopium, this distribution pattern could underperform to its measure move target, because the measure move target for this distribution pattern is just 27% from the breakout line. So if you go 27% to the downside, man, it's 38K, and we just reached 49K, 48K on some other exchanges. So it's just gonna rely on price being able to stay above 54K, in my opinion, at least to get daily candle close above 54K, in order to somewhat call this price action a throwback out of this 3 falling peaks classic distribution pattern, and maybe think that this was just a performance, it was a throwback, and maybe it's not just a distribution. But if I have to go with the technicals, this looks like distribution, 3 falling peaks, classic pattern, where you have lower highs and lower lows. So that's really rough. But what I do wanted to show you guys is that you have that same pattern, right? You have the 3 falling peaks, lower lows, and then the final lower low. And there was an asset that did the same and it failed. And it actually is quite the big asset. It's an ETF. It's a QQQ, or the Nasdaq index. Right here on from July all the way to October of last year, you can see somewhat of a similar structure. This has been going on CT and crypto Twitter too. Some traders also posted from before this meltdown. So shout out to them, because this is somewhat like the hopium that's being smoked on CT. So you can see that this is pretty similar here. You had the 3 falling peaks, classic distribution. You had the breakout line. Price fell below it, and then found somewhat support and turbo reversed. So that's the hopium that I can give you guys for BTC. Although this looked cooked on the Nasdaq, it looked like let's do the measure move for this case. It looked like it was going to drop 10% from the breakout line, so it was going to, on a measure move, down to 315 on the QQQ. So all the way down to April 2023 lows. The price just found support after this lower low, and then started the rally all the way into all-time highs and price discovery. So I don't know. On the TA side, you need more data, and you cannot bet on patterns failing. Like that's basically like casino mode. You have to bet on patterns playing out, because that's the marginal probability that you have on your favor. When you have a pattern on your side, you have a small edge against the rest of the market, or you have an increased probability of something playing out. But if you're betting on a pattern to fail, you actually think you have less chances than a regular trade, because usually patterns, more often than not, patterns play out. So if you wanted somewhat of a hopium on that case, that's what I can give you here. You just have to take a look at the Nasdaq and hope that this maybe was the lower low, and then somewhat of a B-shaped recovery for August going forward. Okay. So I want to talk also about the USDT dominance, because this is it's inversely correlated to the crypto market. This also looked really scary here on 3 rising valleys, which pattern, which is the opposite of the BTC pattern, the 3 falling peaks, classic distribution. This is an accumulation pattern, where the third valley happened right up an important level that we've been talking about, an inflection point from 2020 and 21 and 22. That's where it happened, and you actually had a breakout out of this ascending channel that there was potential bull flag that clearly it wasn't. So what you need to get here is for USDT dominance to fall below 5.9% and get that throwback that Bulkowski was saying, and just have this massive uptick or spike, have that price action to be just the performance of the pattern. But again, you're betting against a pattern failing or a pattern underperforming, and you usually want to have patterns on your side, not you being against the pattern. But we're just going to entertain this scenario because BTC looks really good on the high time frames, on the monthly, 2 month, 3 month, 6 month, etc. And also because the major indices also look great on the high time frame. And nothing has really happened on the U.S. economy yet. I mean, you did have a jump on unemployment, but 4.3 unemployment on the U.S. is still pretty historically low. It's not that we're talking 5.5 or 6% unemployment, which would imply that the U.S. is deep within a recession. So we can still entertain the bullish scenario as for now. But you do have to know that that happened. And also I wanted to talk about the 3-day here, because there's something interesting. The 3-day candle will close in one more day, basically tomorrow at the same time now. And what you have here, it's a hidden bullish divergence that got confirmed. So you have a lower low on the histogram and a higher low on price, which is a continuation divergence of this uptrend. So it basically means that the current trend, it has better odds of continuing rather than reversing. So I think that tomorrow's 3-day candle close will be critical. If actually price manages to lose that breakout line here from this 3 rising valleys, I think that would be pretty nice. But still, this is a 3-day time frame, so it may take some time in order to see if this hidden bullish divergence is actually going to perform real well, or if it's just going to fail and maybe roll over if on that hopium scenario we were talking about on BTC and that QQQ fractal. And BTC also has somewhat of a, look at that, BTC almost up 1% on a new day. BTC also has that hidden, it has a hidden bearish divergence about to be confirmed tomorrow with this negative bar. You have a high on positive Momo here on the MACD histogram, and you have a lower high on price. So that implies that the current trend, which is bearish, has better odds on continuing rather than reversing. So that's you need to know that that's being implied on the MACD histogram on a 3-day chart. And since we're talking about the 3-day chart, let's talk about Bitcoin dominance, because we had a setup on the 3-day. It's pretty interesting that we're going to talk about. So Bitcoin dominance just had the highest price action in 2 years, obviously. Went all the way up to 57.2%, which is this critical inflection point from the previous cycle. We talked about this level being strong, maybe not going to give out on the first try. So you did have some selling today when you approached it, and actually closed on a small bearish hammer here at the top with a lot of volume on Bitcoin dominance today. And why I was talking about the 3-day chart, it's because we had a setup on the 3-day here on Bitcoin dominance that's been playing out to a T. The previous 3-day candle actually was an engulfing candle, and tomorrow it will be the highest 3-day candle close, bro, since April 1st of 2021. But the magic here that we were talking about is on the MACD histogram. We talked about this inverse head and shoulders. That's going to possibly, if it got confirmed, was going to possibly, more likely than not, was going to print positive momentum on the MACD histogram, and was going to bring BTC outperformance against alts. Sadly, that didn't happen to the upside. I was hoping that BTC was going to outperform altcoins, running to the upside into a breakout and into price discovery. And sadly, as you know, that didn't happen. But you did get this whole kind of valley of positive momentum of Bitcoin outperforming altcoins. So you'll just need to see weaker and weaker positive momentum bars in order to maybe call this pattern already played out and think somewhat of an altcoin outperformance, because this could take a while. These are 3-day charts, chat. I mean, these are 3-day candles, so this could take a minute. You know, this whole structure here could take us the whole month. Hopefully not, but I'm not saying it's gonna take a month to top, but it could take a month in order to see negative momentum once again on the 3-day on Bitcoin dominance. So have that in mind. It's been running like crazy, and it's up against strong resistance here, which is the 57.2. So maybe you get somewhat of a pullback, because on the daily, you could somewhat argue that you may have somewhat of an inverse head and shoulders also here, but it was way clearer on the 3-day. It's way better if you had negative momentum here between these two impulses. If you had somewhat of red bars here, and you have a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder, then I will be more confident on calling somewhat of a head and shoulders on the MACD histogram. But this is also on the daily time frame, so it's way better when it's on a 3-day. It's on a higher time frame, so it's more reliable. But yeah, crazy volume on Bitcoin dominance, highest volume since March 6th. So maybe if the market chills here for a minute and doesn't continue to nuke, maybe you see somewhat of a cool off on Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin against the SPX is still inside the descending channel. It's taking forever to get a resolution. Had the lowest daily candle close since July 12, printing strong negative momentum at the 35 point level on the RSI, so it's at the bearish control zone on this daily time frame and way below the daily 200 moving average. So yeah, SPX outperforming Bitcoin, just like from March 13 going forward. All right, I do want to talk about this kind of EMAs that I've been talking about a lot lately. It's the P cycle top indicator, lower EMA, the orange EMA here, this one here. So we said on stream that you didn't want to get somewhat of a rejection out of the orange EMA, and if you started to fall below it, then it was probably bad news and probably meant that you were going for a lower low or a fresh low. And that's exactly what happened. The market didn't had a rejection below it, but failed to sustain price above it. And why do I say that? It's because if you go to 2019, that looks pretty similar to what happened here from March going forward. You actually had this resistance on the green EMA and failed to have a breakout, which didn't happen in 2016, by the way. You had a breakout out of the green EMA here, and then enter a parabolic run after breaking out of the green EMA. So we failed to have a breakout out of the green EMA both in 2024 and 2019. And then you came back down to the orange EMA. We talk about this. You lost the orange EMA, fell below it, and run against it. But in this case, what you did was this. You had a deviation above it and went into a fresh low. And you're basically here on BTC right now, if you had to compare the current cycle against 2019. So maybe if price is able to do that, then you can invalidate this whole thesis. But if it starts to, I don't know, grind sideways and, I don't know, take further time to develop a bottom, then maybe this was somewhat of a 2019 move, and you're not still on a bull market, and you'll have to wait this long time, possibly almost like a year or so, in order to see enough frothy conditions on Bitcoin and the altcoin space. So you do have to know what's going on the orange EMA, because I've been looking at it a lot. I've been talking about this indicator a lot. So now that that's been invalidated, I don't want you guys to think that okay, so his bull thesis with the P cycle top indicator is done, so he's not going to talk about it anymore. No, this is it. So this is playing out like the 2019 so far. So maybe you get somewhat of a recovery and you get back above the orange EMA, then we can start talking, chat, about not being on an echo bubble. But ever since that you rejected the green EMA and that you lost the orange EMA here, you started to enter echo bubble territory, and then the last week price action just somewhat confirm it. So I need the market to unconfirm what it just did in order for me to get excited about running against the green EMA again and maybe having a breakout. But given the current conditions on the market, I think if we run against the green EMA again soon, for example, within the next 4 months, I think it's going to act as resistance again, and it's not going to have a breakout. It's just my thought right now. Because I don't think the market is frothy enough or will be safe enough, and the economy will be safe enough unless something changes with the Fed and the rate cuts. But I'll see maybe somewhat of a rejection out of the green EMA again, a pullback, and maybe then continue and get that breakout. But if you get a run up from down here straight up into the green EMA, I think you'll get a sell off at it. And it's currently at $99,947. So tomorrow it'll be 100K. Granted, we'll take a look at it tomorrow, and it'll be on 100K. All right. Let's take a look at the SPX, down 3% today. Gap down, somewhat bounced after a lot of brokerage companies suspended trading. But I had somewhat of a cool reversal in the morning, but still below this critical level here. This all-time high from March of this year, you fell below it. But you're at the 30-point level on the RSI, so it's right next to oversold. Printed the highest negative momentum on the MACD histogram. Look at this, chat. Highest momentum on the MACD histogram since February of 2022. Today, on the SPX. So I don't want to waffle about this too long, but it's been important since this is basically what has been bringing crypto down. You're still above the daily 200 moving average, so who knows what's going to happen. All I know is that the stock market wasn't going to bottom or top on Friday. So I was expecting on Monday, on Tuesday maybe, to get somewhat of a bottoming, because people get scared on Fridays and they just sell. They don't want to go into the weekend with an open position. And that's when rarely the market would top or bottom on a Friday. So, yeah, I think crypto is it's depending a lot on what the SPX does at this point. I wish it was more decoupled and just running on its own, but it's going to rely on what this asset does tomorrow and this week in order to give him some confidence and recovering some terrain that lost on just a week time. Nasdaq, same deal, just down 2.96%. Had a wild gap down. Did touch the daily 200 moving average for the first time since March 2023, Chad. So a year and a half almost since the daily 200 moving average wasn't touched on the Nasdaq, and that streak was done today. I am going to show you the monthly, because I look at the monthly a lot on the Nasdaq here on the log scale. If you're a current viewer of the stream, if you're a Pitbox follower, you do know I look at this a lot. This is my basically bear market index for stocks and for crypto. So the P-cycle top indicator, the P-cycle bottom indicator, red EMA, the red EMA is really good at signaling when you enter a bear market on the Nasdaq and also potentially on Bitcoin. And as for now, you're falling below it. So because the red EMA is at 18,270 and you are at 17,900 or so. But there's no problem if you fall below it, like here, in October 2023, you actually fell below it. You also fell below it a little bit here on March 2023. You fell below it here on January 2019. You get the picture. What you don't want to see is price closing below it and then having a back test, a bearish back test, like the ones that you had here. That's what you don't want to see, because if you see that on a monthly time frame, then I'm gonna get really scared and really cautious. It happened also here on 2018, fell below it, back tested, nuked. On 2021 happened multiple times, multiple bearish retest. So just for you guys who might be getting a little bit scared and it's scary times, I'll give you that. I just keep it simple. I just look at the monthly time frame on this asset, and if I don't see a bearish retest to this red EMA of the P cycle bottom indicator, which has worked wonders in the past, then I don't think it's too much of a concern as yet. Okay, but you are printing weaker positive momentum on the MACD histogram, but that can be turned on any point. You'll see here in history, you just flip flop between strong and weak positive Momo until you lose all of the momentum. So yeah, we'll see how August closes. It still has 24 more days to go. We'll keep an eye on that. And the last thing about TradFi that I'm going to talk about, which is madly interesting too, it was the BIX. BIX was up like crazy today. At one point at like 120 or 30%. Let's see. More, like 175% at one point. So I tweeted this setup just last week. I talked about it on stream, I think. So this is the weekly on the BIX. You had a breakout here on July 22nd with a bullish backtest on July 29, and that bullish backtest actually gave you an uptrend and an impulse above the daily 200 moving average and above this resistance that's it's been formed since January 2022. And look at what happened this week. Like you just been one day into the weekly close, into the weekly candle, and you're already above all of this price action ever since the COVID crash. So the real question for me, locally speaking at least, is that you need to see a BIX rollover. You need to see the BIX give back most of this rally here and bleed out. And then it's when you're going to see a bottom in the stock market, in my opinion. Look at, oh my God, look at the RSI today. Close on the 87 point level. So ultra overbought. Hasn't been this overbought on the daily time frame since February 21st of March. February 21st of 2020. But doesn't imply much because you do know that the market kept nuking on 2020 until like March 12 or so. So this could reverse and then just continue to pump, although at lower RSI levels, but could still be very bullish for the BIX. So we're going to go with price action. You just need to live this huge wick up here, start slowly bleeding down, and not fail this wick, which was the highest price action on the BIX since March 30 of 2020. So deep within the start of the pandemic. And we don't have a pandemic now. This is just recession fears and the whole Nikkei unwinding and Japanese yen and whatnot. But mostly on the States, it's just the unemployment print that came up a little bit higher, and recession fears. I don't know. I have some normie group texts that didn't care at all about finance. They just practice some other jobs and whatnot. And some of them sent news about the stock market today being devastated. And usually when you get normie attention about the stock market, they're usually tops or bottoms are really close to them. So take that with a grain of salt, because that's not TA, but it could be somewhat insightful for y'all. All right, let's go to Ethereum, your second largest market cap crypto. So Ethereum closed down below $2,542, this inflection point from 2022. So that's not really really good. I had the highest selling volume since the FTX implosion. Man, what a day! Gotta give you that. There was some FUD about ETH on Jump, the BC Jump selling Ethereum over the weekend, so it had a really tough performance yesterday on Saturday. Really oversold on the RSI here at 26 points right now, so deeply oversold, printing strong negative momentum on the MACD histogram. Actually, the strongest negative momentum being printed since March 20 of this year. Yeah, I'm not that interested in Ethereum because you're below this critical inflection points from the previous cycle. I think there are more compelling altcoins right now that you could be more interested in on. And they're high market caps too, because if you wanted to bid crypto and you don't want to bid Bitcoin, I'm not sure if I will bid Ethereum right now, because it looks structurally worse than BTC and some other altcoins. And we're gonna pull ETH BTC. Look at this, chat. Look at this lower low regarding this low. We talked about this lower high here regarding this highs, and the market being unable to break 5,600 could have consequences, and it did. It had the lowest price action here on ETH BTC with a ETF and all since April 20 of 2021. Man, oversold on the RSI too. It's at the 28 point level, printing negative momentum too. Highest volume on ETH BTC on Binance since also the FTX implosion in 2022. Man, I think that if you wanted to, I don't know, bid Ethereum or be interested in Ethereum, I just really think you need to flip 5,600. This level from 2017 is too important to ignore, and also was regarded as support and resistance on 2022 and 2021. So I really think that market participants would need to send ETH BTC higher above that level in order to get excited. But look at this daily candle close. Actually managed to close above this low here. So this lower low is just on a wick perspective as for now. So that's cool. I'm going to set this locally here so you just know you're above it as for now. Wow, BTC it's up 3% on a day. And talking about better performing altcoins, let's go to Solana. Solana is up 6% on the new daily candle. But we're going to focus on today's candle that already closed. It closed at the lowest daily candle close since July 4. So that's not that bad. But you did lose $144. We talked about every time that you lost 170, this being an up and down territory, and look what happened here. It just went straight down into a lower low. Actually, this was the lowest low on Solana since March 5th. And like most of the market, although it looks better than Ethereum, there's no denying that this looked like a triple top here. And it looks like distribution and less market participants are trading or holding this asset than before. But that's something that you already know, given what happened on BTC, on the structure of BTC. So ultimately, chat, it's going to depend on what the SPX does. Then Bitcoin more likely is going to follow, and Solana most likely will follow suit to what BTC does. But yeah, pretty insane that Solana pumped from the lows to the daily candle close 17%, chat. 17%. Now, if we can go to the 4 hour, you can see here. Actually, the 4 hour is having a nice reaction to this somewhat local triple bottom with a bullish engulfing, catching follow through. Look at this whole volume here, and printing the first bar of positive momentum. Not confirmed yet, but the first bar of positive momentum, the 4 hour, since July 29. So let's see here. 42 bars, 7 days straight of negative momentum on the 4 hour. Since here, since this top here, you just have straight 4 hour bars on Solana. 4 hour negative momentum bars. Let's go back to the daily. Any day on Solana, also, if I have to be devil's advocate and trying to stay bullish, any day that you're above 123, 116 here, this critical inflection point from previous cycle, and also this cycle around, being regarded as support, resistance, support, and now potentially support again. Because any day that you're above it, you're cool. Or otherwise, your next logical target, it's $80. So if you lose 116, you're looking for a 30% drawdown on Solana. But having the stock market close, Bitcoin's just doing its thing. Maybe doing somewhat of the mean reversion trade, liquidating late shorts and punishing late sellers. You know, some people maybe are FOMOing. Who knows? Yada yada yada. Let's see, Sol BTC. That's interesting too. Yeah, look at this bullish pin bar that you had today above the daily 200 moving average. You had the lowest price action on Sol BTC since June 2024. Look at this volume, chat here. Highest volume on Sol BTC since October 2023, chat. Look at this. Since when this whole thing started, basically. And it was a green candle on Sol BTC. So I'm going to leave you with that. And also, you have a potential hidden bullish divergence on the MACD histogram being cooked. You do need to lose further negative Momo and flip green in order to be confirmed, but you do have hidden bullish divergence here on Solana. And let's take a look at one of my favorite charts. You do know what's the one, and that's the Sol ETH. What a reversal, man. We talked about this tweezer top here with this bearish engulfing candle at a key inflection point on Sol ETH. That was most likely going to get a pullback. It's exactly what happened. We'll go from lows to highs. So it reached the 50% retracement or pullback from lows to highs here on 5th. And now it's just pushing upwards again. You had a bullish engulfing candle on Sunday, catch follow through today with a massive volume candle, and now you're uptrending again, going for the highest price action since July 30. So be recovering out of this dump patch from on Sol ETH. Solana, it's up 6.5% on the day. Wow. Wild. Okay, so we talked about Ethereum, Solana. Let's take a look at DXY, because why not? Oh. I don't know why I didn't look at this before. So you do have this head and shoulders. Now you have like in head and shoulders inception, because you had a head and shoulders here, you know, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. But you could also look at it like left shoulder, massive head, and then a right shoulder. This was the neckline, and you have this this down break on Friday. You catch some follow through today. So DXY has been nuking this whole time. Funny, might be because of the whole Japan situation. but it's at the 32 point level on the RSI, so it's at the bearish control zone, printing negative momentum on the MACD histogram, and just did the lowest daily candle close. Whoops, what was that? Lowest daily candle close on DXY. Look at this, chat. Since January 2024, since January 15. So hype in the chat for DXY reversing and leaving this lower highs up there and not flipping into reaccumulation and looking somewhat like distribution up here. Get hype for it. Unless you have shorts open, then you're not that pumped. Okay, let's look at somewhat more relevant altcoins. Let's take a look at Ondo, because why not? Ondo had a massive recovery today, I think. Did it close green? My God. Ondo closed green today, chat. It had a 36% recovery from the lows. So Ondo pumped today 36% from the lows. God damn. Printed negative momentum on the MACD histogram. It is at the 26 point level on the RSI, so it's quite oversold on that oscillator. And you're fighting with a key level here. The 70 cents level was regarded as support a bunch of times here in the past on April of this year. So structurally looks really bad, but like most of crypto look right now, even BTC looks horrible on the structural perspective, and it needs time in order to develop somewhat of a more favorable bullish structure. So you do have to know you're in the middle of an impulse to the downside. Don't forget that, and don't think that Pickbox here is calling for B reversals or whatnot. Market right now, it's impulsing. It's on impulse mode to the downside, and if we got somewhat of a relief, God bless it. And if we start painting a bottom, then even better, because you already know what I think on that fractal about the Nasdaq and BTC potentially playing out. All right, but don't try to be knife catching, and if you want to buy here, or I don't know, position yourself according, I would have in mind to just don't go like a fully at once. Bitcoin rarely B recovers and doesn't do a formal retest, like a confirmation low and whatnot. Maybe this time it doesn't do it because because of the circumstances and why it actually dumped. But more often than not, market participants love a backtest. So maybe you have time and you don't have to go all in at once. Caspa was also interesting before this whole turmoil. We talked about this on I talked about it on Wednesday here, selling off against this. Look what they did, chat. Against this upper line or basically resistance of this ascending channel, and we talked about this right against this resistance, and we talked about this could be a nothing burger. You know, if you see just a candle and then this single candlestick pattern forming, that doesn't imply anything. But if the next daily candle close, which was Friday, closed below the closure of Thursday close, then you get a confirmation of that pattern. And look at the follow through that it had. Actually, well, the whole market nuked. But from the low of the dead hanging man all the way to the lowest low of Caspa, had a 38% performance, chat. And if you were a Caspa trader or holder and you saw this, that hanging man plus follow through with the lowest daily candle close, since July 26th here on Friday, then you could have taken action and maybe opened a hedge or whatever you like doing. I don't know, selling and buying here at the bottom of the range. Look at this, chat. Look at the TA being respected like the Jesus on this ticker on Caspa. And this is we're looking way better than most of the coins, even better than Solana. Right, chat? But yeah, Caspa is up 5% on the new candle. By the way, chat, if you want me to look at any of your coins, just let me know. If you like something in particular, I'm just looking at majors now, or some new fresh coins. I want to look at BNB. What did BNB do between all of this mess? Look at this, chat. Look at where the daily candle closed below. Where the daily closed below or above today. This complacency shoulder from April 2022, the 462 buck was regarded maybe a support today, or at least market participants pushed this asset higher than this level here today. Wow, chat. What a time to be alive. Also up 4% on the new day. Bouncing from the oversold level on the RSI. It's at the 32-point level on the RSI, BNB. Yeah, I think it looks better than ETH, in all honesty. If I pull up BNB against ETH, I bet BNB has been outperforming ETH for the past few months at least. Okay, we talked about Sol. What else can be interesting? Let me know in the chat. Okay, let's look at some Sol beta. This is Jito. It's up 6.66% on the new daily. Potentially going for a bullish engulfing candle. But you still have an hour and 15 more minutes to go, so a long time for now. Printing negative momentum on the MACD histogram, and it's only at the 42-point level on the RSI. So chat, Jito, it's effing neutral on the RSI. Didn't even get too oversold or bearish control zone. So study relative strength. And I'm going to give you this too. Jito against, oh no, this is Jito. I'm looking for Jito against BTC, but I do have Jito against Sol, I think. Where do I have it? Okay, so this is Jito against Solana. If you're debating yourself whether you should hold Jito or Sol, well, take a look at this, chat. You have this massive triple bottom here on July. Then a higher high regarding this high, and potentially a higher low, chat. We've been always wondering when a higher low on this kind of downtrends. Printing positive momentum for the time being on the MACD histogram, and it's at the 54-point level on the RSI. So if this higher low gets confirmed, I think Solana ecosystem or Solana beta like Jito might outperform Solana, because you've been on a relentless downtrend since mid-May of this year, and all you need now is just a higher low regarding this low here. If you do that, then maybe you want to bet another higher low from Solana, because I think one of the best majors as of now, it's Solana. Also Ondo had quite a day. I think we already looked at Ondo. Yeah, it closed green. But that's what happens also with some coins, chat. You have a strong performance like Ondo today, and then it underperforms the rest of the market, who didn't perform very well on today's daily candle close. So it's like a tandem move between assets. Tia was also trying to somewhat. Could this be a confirmation low, chat? Could this be it? You have somewhat of a bullish divergence argument here. From that low to that low. So if this low actually holds on TI, it might be interesting. I do remember we have a setup here that we were expecting. I think it hit already. Okay, it overshot actually. So we talked about this massive bullish harmonic on SUI, and we were waiting for the type 2 return of the harmonic, because usually they do backtest out of this massive harmonic structures. Rarely they would go up straight up after they go for this, on this case, an 886 retracement from lows to top, 88 retracement. It rarely goes up right away. They put in a confirmation low, and then that's when they bounced. And SUI actually, you could have the argument of this being in a type 2 if it holds here. If it pushes further down, then I wouldn't be that interested in SUI. But if you actually hold this area here, this critical inflection point at 51 cents, 56 cents, between that area, maybe you could get an argument of this being a type 2 return out of this massive bullish harmonic. You're failing though to get bullish divergence on the MACD histogram. This is just bearish convergence. You have a lower low in price and a higher and a lower low in the histogram. So I wish there was a divergence also. You see, like a lower low in price and a higher low on the on the negative momentum. Then I will be more confident on this setup going forward. So everything's green today. You love to see it. Asia's buying the bit. At least they're speculating about it. Pepe's up 8%. Barely visible in the chart. This is how bad this drawdown was. And I talked about Pepe too, because I saw so many people calling for an embarrassed head and shoulders here. Like, oh, this is gonna my embarrassed head and shoulders. This is gonna pump. And my opinion was that this wasn't going to play out because of a very simple reason, chat. Because everyone was expecting that to happen, because it happened on April. And when you have a similar structure here forming, it's usually the market bluffing and making everyone believe, okay, it's gonna play out exactly like it did here. It could have, but more likely than not, it doesn't. If it's too obvious, I mean, if you're looking for a fractal or for like a pattern that it has happened in the past, it's pretty rare that it will occur like right away after it just happened. Like you get two consecutive embarrassed head and shoulders. It's pretty rare. If you want to see a fractal or a pattern repeating, you have to go where no one's looking. You know, like down here. Or maybe inverted, you know, like an inverted fractal, like the head and shoulders happen to the downside and then you invert it and then that happens to the upside, or maybe on a different time frame or on a different asset. But when I looked at this and I saw people on the timeline calling for the same inverse head and shoulders, I was like, I'm not sure, you know. We started to see Pepe roll over. And well, the rest is history. You know, it came down with Ethereum. This Pepe's Ethereum beta. And by the way, I don't think that memes are over. Not at all. I think if you get a bull market within the next year, I think memes are going to hit big. You know, I'm not sure if Pepe will. Maybe some other new memes. Maybe Pepe recovers and is the strongest leader of the market, like it was for the past few months. But what I do think is that memes pump harder when there's more confidence in the market. Like memes started popping off in February, March, you know. They didn't start popping off in October when BTC was rallying, Solana was rallying, AI was rallying, Link was rallying. So utility run first. So maybe if you get somewhat of a rally here, maybe utility leads. Memes can pump, but I don't think they'll be the market leader until the market it's again confident on BTC being strong, going to price discovery, this being a bull market, yada yada yada, and then it's when you get that meme rotation and memes just turn to be the massive performance that they're going to be. Okay. Well, that's my thought on Pepe. Sadly, it nuked. It had the first daily candle close below the 200 moving average chat since February of this year, since February 11. So you went pretty much 7 months without or 6 months without having price action or a daily candle close below the daily 200 moving average, and that's what happened today. Coming out of oversold on the RSI, you're at the 32 point level, so deep within the bearish control zone, printing negative momentum on the MACD histogram, and again below the daily 200. So that's my thought on Pepe. I wasn't sure this was going to play out because it was too obvious, and when something's too obvious for the market or it just feels too safe, that's when usually it's the more risky. And you're below this level here, which is pretty important. Was used as resistance a bunch of times, also support. You had a bullish backtest into this level here, this 918 level. It had a massive spring from it, and now you're sitting below it. So in my opinion, if you want to get excited about Pepe again, you need to be above 918. All right. What else, chat? What else can we look at? Let me know if you want to take a look at anything talking about memes. Whiff, lowest daily candle close ever. Wrecked, highest volume candle ever. At the 31 point level on the RSI. So just coming out of oversold, but at the bearish control zone. And the highest negative momentum on the MACD histogram since April 19 of this year. So yeah, maybe Whiff becomes a flop and then just you get new memes. Because Whiff is not a meme like Pepe, But who knows? They might run it back. Bonk looks way better than Whiff. Look at this, chat. They held 1790 here. This resistance here. It was held by market participants, and actually the daily candle closed above it. You didn't reach the oversold levels like Whiff did, but you're at 35 point levels on you're the 35 points on the RSI, so you're deep on the bearish control zone too. Okay. Let's take a look at total market cap. Where do we have this beauty? It's total 2. This is total. Total had the lowest price action today since February 9 of this year, and the lowest daily candle close since February 13. Get wrecked, chat. Get wrecked. I don't think this is correct. It's showing like an immense amount of volume just on 50 minutes of trading, so I don't think that's proper. But had the highest volume here since March 15, according to TradingView. and you just fell below 2 trillion, which is a psychological level. It's been respected a bunch of times. Just couldn't deal with this resistance from the 2021 cycle, as you can appreciate here. Just looks pretty similar to BTC, just lower highs and lower lows. So your only hopium is that QQQ fractal actually playing out. My God, chat. BTC is up 3.3% on a day, on the new day. Hype in the chat for BTC. Just strong bounce on the fresh day. Okay, I've been going on for about an hour. Appreciate everyone you tuning in. I appreciate the likes, support, contributions. Make sure to turn on notification ons. Hit on that bell so you can go where I'm going live. But I usually go live at 7 p.m. EST every day, Monday to Friday. I cover crypto market, cryptocurrencies, crypto assets, and some stocks also, and an index where they're looking interesting. I'll be creating a Discord pretty soon, so you can be in tune to what I'm thinking, and you can be notified when I'm going live. So I'm going to drop it in the chat anytime soon. So I really thank you guys for tuning in, taking your time, for being live here or watching the restream. So if you're hearing this, please do me a solid and leave me a like on this video, and I'll see you guys